Welcome back. Hello. Good evening. Good afternoon. Good morning.
All of the above.
Wherever you are and whenever you're watching this, thank you for tuning back in.
Yeah.
This is our 43rd episode,
Wow.
which every time we go to another episode, it just completely shocks me.
I know. I don't feel like we've done that many of them.
Yeah, it doesn't feel...
It really doesn't feel like
we've
that
done
many.
that much. I don't know. Maybe because we did a couple and then switched formats, so it was like a restart.
But we didn't do that many of the old format.
Yeah, we did.
Like
I think we did
5?
like 6 or 7. No, I think it was like 6 or 7.
That's and out
Still,
of
that's not
43,
much.
that's really not many. Like we've done 30-ish
5
up here.
normal. Yeah. I mean, in a real podcast studio space, whatever.
Yeah.
Regardless, it doesn't feel like we've done that many, and we're still finding our footing
Yeah.
with a lot. You know, I despite all the memes and me not wanting to do the podcast, I do enjoy doing the podcast.
Yeah, I do too.
But the problem is, it becomes decently repetitive, I guess.
Yeah.
But what I'm learning about content creation is repetition really isn't a huge deal, because a lot, like, you're not going to have a ton of return viewers. Like, at a certain point you will, but, and I'm not saying like recycle every topic over and over again.
But there's going to be new people seeing you for the first time in every video.
And also, I think like my thought process on fitness and nutrition has changed, not dramatically, but quite a bit from a year ago, 2 years ago when we started doing this.
Yeah.
So there's more nuance. And so if a question comes across my desk that's similar to one we've already answered, I may have a different perspective. You may have a different perspective.
Yep.
So I still think there's value there.
Yeah.
Like I said last week, we're going to try and get all the episodes for December out. We're going to do a special Christmas episode. So, wow.
Can't wait.
I don't know what that'll entail. It probably won't be very Christmas focused, but we'll talk about Christmas maybe. I don't know. But we're going to do one that will hopefully come out on Christmas Day. That is a Monday, the 25th. And then I wanted to kind of talk about, before we get into the meat and potatoes of today's topic, I got a couple tweets for you that I'd like to go through. Just kind of the scheduling for next year in terms of like videos on the channel.
Awesome.
I am competing again. Woohoo! I've got a competition on the books. I've paid a $145 entry fee on top of a $50 membership fee to a new federation.
All right.
So I'm $200 in the hole. So this is happening.
You're invested now.
It's at the end of March. I'm very excited about it. I've started kind of a pre-season ramp-up training, a little bit more volume focused, and I start specific meat preparation beginning of February.
Nice.
Now, the reason I'm telling you this is I want to bring back meat prep vlogs or training recaps or whatever.
Yeah.
So that may mean that the podcast will come out on Wednesdays instead of Mondays, because what I would like to do is recap of the previous week on that Monday, podcast on Wednesday, and then an informative, my normal style of video on Thursday.
Nice.
That's what I'm kicking around. So just in case, you've got the rest of December, the podcast will be coming out on Monday, and we're going to try and switch to Wednesdays
in the new year.
January.
Awesome.
I'm also thinking about having a separate channel for the podcast. Now, I don't think that that's very valuable right now.
Yeah.
Just because we don't have this channel monetized yet. We don't have 1,000 subscribers. We don't have the watch hours yet. So I think that the podcast is still applicable to this current channel that we're on, my general YouTube channel. If we get to a point where, if the momentum starts to take off a little bit more, we
might separate it. Yeah.
This is a little behind the curtain for you guys, but I just wanted to let you know. Also, I'm sweating to death, so I'm going to take my hoodie off, entertain the people.
Your Garfield hoodie is going?
Yeah,
It's awesome.
It is a To Resist Authority and Mondays.
Dare to Resist Authority and Mondays. I love this time of year because Jonah has so many amazing hoodies that he'll wear. Like, he loves wearing them, and a lot of them are really hilarious. But he gets he gets to wear them so rarely. So I saw that Garfield one, and I hadn't seen it in a year. So I was like, I forgot about this one.
I do. I love hoodies. Hoodies are my favorite pieces of clothing because they cover up my body, and I don't like my body. No, I'm just kidding.
You have a great body.
I just feel more comfortable in hoodies for whatever reason.
Hey, so do I. Although I prefer crew necks to hoodies.
And I think that does, in my younger days, that definitely came from some body discomfort. I like to be
Yeah.
covered up. Now
They're
I'm almost
cozy.
30. I don't give a crap about what my body looks like, to be honest with you. But I just still have that level of like, ooh,
They're
a
comfy,
hoodie.
cozy.
The other thing too is they're connected to my favorite time of year when I'm not sweating to
Yep.
death, except
Yep.
for today apparently.
Yep. Well, maybe for our Christmas podcast, you can wear one of your Christmas hoodies.
I have a couple.
I know you do.
I have a ugly sweater, House Baratheon sweater.
You do. I love
That's
that
awesome.
one.
And then I have my favorite, Christmas is Back, baby.
Don't you have a Ninja Turtles one too?
Oh, I have the Ninja Turtles one that you bought me too,
Yeah.
where the Ninja Turtles are all wearing Santa hats. So who knows? Maybe I'll wear all three.
Maybe I'll wear one of them
Yeah.
and just look
Huge.
like a big old
I think
potato sack.
the Baratheon one is smaller than.
Okay.
So that one might work for you.
I wore Christmas is Back Baby to work last year.
Yeah.
We had like an ugly sweater day at the nursing home.
Yeah. I can't believe you would call that an ugly sweater.
Well, it was the best that I had. It was like a cheesy Christmas
yeah.
sweater. It's Santa Claus on a surfboard. Like,
Yeah.
it's a little cheesy,
It's
but like
awesome.
in the greatest way. I got so many compliments on it.
The unfortunate thing about that sweater is it's white and it's really starting to get a little dingy.
Yeah, I
'Cause
need,
it's
I need
about-
to do something to that.
It's about 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
Like that bad boy.
I'll fix it up for you.
it's probably more like 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah.
But still, that's a long time.
Yeah. But anyway, we
So
do
that's-
love a hoodie.
Forecasting into the future. I'll talk more about this as we wind the year down, but I do want to talk about like perspective on where the channel, how much the channel grew this year and just stuff like that. So, you know how I'm a sappy little boy. I like to look back and remember.
But it's nice to celebrate the journey.
Yes, for sure. And another quick plug for our Discord. If you want to join up, the Discord let me down today. I asked them if they had any questions, and it's crickets in there. I don't blame you guys.
Shame on everyone. No, I'm
I'm
kidding.
just kidding. But I want to do something in the Discord where just kind of give an open platform for celebrating what you've accomplished this year. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be strength focused. It doesn't have to be nutrition or physique focused. Obviously, that's the core of our channel, but life, there's a lot of things to celebrate. Promotions, new relationships, getting out of bad relationships, like whatever it is that you want to celebrate that you accomplished this year. I'm probably going to put the call out maybe next week and we'll talk about it on the podcast if you're okay with that. If not, we won't talk about it on the podcast. Just indicate that in the text.
Yep.
But I am a person who's going into their 30s next year. And I've always been one who likes to look back because I have a bad memory. So I like to try and like think over stuff and like really ingrain it into my long-term memory.
Yeah.
So I'm always going to, give an opportunity for people to look back and celebrate stuff. You got anything else to say in terms of housekeeping or anything like that?
No, I don't think so.
We're going to try and find ways for Sarah to have her own perspectives on this podcast.
Okay.
I really like your outsider perspective on the fitness stuff. I think that brings a lot of value because, like I said, for me specifically, I think from a very inside perspective. This is all I think about. This is all I do all day long.
But I'm a lay person.
So it's very valuable. But, when I'm editing the podcast and I see it's always me. Like I'm talking probably 75, 80% of the time.
I also think that's part of my personality and who
Yeah.
I am. I'm more of a listener than I think
In our dynamic, I think that's how it works.
I
Because
think
you,
that's-
outside of our relationship, take on more of a, in some cases,
Yeah.
like in a professional setting, you'll talk a lot more than,
sometimes.
Yeah.
I think
oh, gee, I am all over the place today.
I think the threshold for me to speak up is a little bit higher than it is for most people.
Okay.
Like, I think if I have something to say, I'm going to say it, but I'm going to be really sure that it like needs to be said
right.
or it's like I can say it exactly the way that I want to.
And I admire that about you because I am not like that. I will speak up and then 5 minutes later be like, I shouldn't have said that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like,
Well, and that's not to say that I am like a person of few words. Like
No.
when I have something to say, I'm happy to talk about it for as long as people will listen. But I don't know. I think it's just that, like I said, the threshold to start talking is a little bit higher for me.
that's fine.
And maybe that's not, ideal for being on a podcast. I might need a little bit of encouragement.
we're finding
perhaps.
our rhythm.
But yeah, that's just, I think, part of my personality.
Yeah.
But I think it's really valuable to have an insider, like expert perspective and a layperson's perspective
Yeah.
on really any topic.
And I wouldn't say that I'm an expert, but I'm getting there.
Yeah, no, I mean,
The
you're
goal is to
you're
be
a
an expert.
certified,
Yeah.
trainer and
means
nutrition
nothing.
coach. It doesn't mean nothing.
The certification process for being a personal trainer is
See, but-
stupid.
But here's the thing. I think a lot of people feel that way about their own
Okay.
specialty.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what I do, it's not that hard. But if anybody else were to try and do
That's a good point.
what you do, it's like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
That is a very good
Imagine
point.
doing my job for a day.
Right.
My job is easy to
For
me.
you. Yeah.
It's very easy.
Yeah.
I don't think it's hard. But anybody
yeah.
else would.
I think there's a level of bitterness with a lot of personal trainers because the certification process and the recertification process is usually just a money grab. Mm-hmm. And I think it's like that in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
Like I said, the general scientific principles of training and nutrition have not changed and probably will not change unless we enter a new stage of human evolution.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, recertify so you can keep up to date with the same stuff you've been doing for 10 years.
Yeah. Well, if I can pull back the curtain for you a little bit, that's how every professional licensing is.
That's kind of what I assumed.
I have to do 10 to 15 hours of continuing at a year, and I have to really make an effort to choose ones that are like important and
Yeah.
helpful and matter.
Yeah.
It would be very easy to just do 10 random ones just to do them
Mm-hmm.
or because they're low cost, and then pay $150 to
Yeah.
renew my license and have that be that. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
That's how the government makes some of its money.
I get you.
You're not alone.
My courses that I took for recertification was like a mental toughness course. Mm-hmm. I mean, come on, what are we talking about?
And your courses are really expensive. So
Well, that one was $50, so that's why I took it.
exactly, and that's
Because the other ones
kind
were
of
like
where I was.
$600.
That's where I was leading. It's like the ones that actually matter are of a ridiculous cost, and it's like, well, you know what? I can read studies on my own and not
Dude.
get CE credit for it, and just have low
That's the
cost
thing.
CE credit
That's
to
the
get
thing.
my license.
I do a lot of study and I try and stay on top of topics by myself without having to do,
Right.
Because
So
I think
it's-
that makes me a better coach.
Right. So you might as well just do the lowest cost.
Speaking
anyway.
of being a better coach, we're going to do two fitness Instagram. These are real or threads.
Yeah.
Two of them that one of them is just absurd. And the other one I think has some merit to it. And I want to dig into it a little bit deeper. We'll
Okay.
start with the more absurd one.
Okay.
And I don't know if this person claims to be a fitness professional
Or if they're just a guy.
or if they're just a person. But regardless, I think there's value in this. I'm so happy with 1,000 Whys. Yesterday's workout was an absolute success. Okay, interesting.
Great.
Why was it a success? My back is sore. So are my traps, shoulders, chest, biceps, triceps, glutes, hamstrings, quads, calves. Pretty much everything is sore except my abs because I can easily hit those at home. I have no other choice but to rest today because my body is so sore. I'm not going to work out and I'm still going to make gains. Yay. All right. Benefit of the doubt. First and foremost, congratulations to you, friend, for getting in the gym, for attempting to better your life through physical fitness.
Yeah.
Couple things we need to talk about here.
Sure.
First and foremost, the core tenet of soreness equals muscle growth or progress is it's a false equivalence.
Yeah.
These two things, soreness does not lead to growth. Soreness can be a byproduct of some of the mechanisms that lead to growth, mechanical tension, building a lot of metabolites in the muscle that can lead to soreness and also growth. But just because you are sore does not mean that you have done what you need to do to adequately build muscle
It
tissue.
means you've done something new, correct?
There you go. So novelty, the newness of a movement, will usually be a great indicator of soreness. Take it back to the first time that you ever did legs. Do you remember how terrible it felt for the next week after that? Or let's say you're a little gym bro and you go in and you do 20 sets of bicep curls and then you can't straighten your arms out for a week and a half afterwards. That is the novelty effect of training.
Yeah.
This is a new movement. My body has no muscle memory, for lack of a better term, on this movement. And that's why I'm creating this intense feeling of soreness. Imagine if you felt like that after every good workout, you'd never work out again.
No. So yeah, you can be sore and not have great muscle growth by the next week. You can be not sore and have fantastic improvement.
Do you want to know when the last time I got sore was?
Probably never.
I feel muscle fatigue, but that feeling of soreness that
Like
a lot
pain.
that has not happened to me in years.
Because you've been working out 5-6 days a week for years.
And I've put 200 pounds on my squat. I've put 200 pounds on my deadlift. I've put 100 pounds on my bench press in that time.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, you're not getting any stronger because you're not getting sore. Well, the objective measures would say otherwise.
Right. Right.
The other thing that I want to touch on there.
They did a lot of stuff.
Well,
How are they moving?
You do not have to crawl out of the gym every time that you go to the gym. I think this is another big issue that is perpetuated by social media. And I won't just say social media. There are a lot of boots on the ground personal trainers who train in this style. Mm-hmm. Now, I'll tell you why they do that. In a corporate gym or in any client coach relationship, we are a results-based business. Mm-hmm. The issue is results do not come incredibly quickly in our business unless you do these extreme measures. So a good way to show your client that you know what you're talking about is to beat the hell out of them so that the next day they feel terrible and say, oh my God, I must have worked out really hard.
I did a great job. My coach really
My
trained
trainer
me.
really knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
When in actuality, you're actually stunting growth sometimes in a lot of cases. Best case scenario,
or burning people out.
You're just burning people out. You're running people down. You're keeping people from actually feeling better. Mm-hmm. All of the, I'll never forget. I heard somebody walk into the gym. I think it was another one of our clients, or maybe it was somebody who had a bad relationship with a personal trainer before, because I see a lot of people like that. And they said, you guys should stop lying to people about working out making you feel better, because when I work out, I feel terrible. And I was like, oh, I mean, what type of stuff do you do normally? And they were like, this, and this, no rest times,
like, no
military style. I'm like, okay, well, that's why you feel terrible. It's not inherently working out that's making you feel terrible. Right. And it could be any number of things. Maybe you've not been coached on proper nutrition to support that exercise. Mm-hmm. So two things the take home message is, just because you're sore doesn't mean that you're doing the right thing. It could be. Just because you're not getting sore anymore doesn't mean that you're doing the wrong thing. That's another one that I get all the time. Mm-hmm. 3 months into training, my clients would be like, hey, I'm not sore anymore. Are we really even working out anymore? I'm like, well, look at your body composition. Look at how much weight you've put on the leg press. That's when you have to start to look at objective measures rather than subjective feelings.
Right, because you've crossed that threshold of now you're kind of a little bit more experienced.
Right.
You don't have that novelty factor anymore, which is a positive thing.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it's probably really important to set expectations as a trainer. It's like, I want to build something that's going to be sustainable for you, and that's going to mean that, you're sore at the beginning, but not incapacitated with soreness, and it might take a little bit longer to see some results because I don't want to burn you out.
Right. And I think that is why I rail so hard against social media, is because the first 1 to 2 to 3 months of my training relationship with 90% of people is continuing to try and convince them that what they saw online was not real and that what I'm talking about is actually going to work for them.
Right.
It means nothing to them that I have a strong grasp on progressive overload, on proper programming, on nutrition concepts. Right. What these people want to see, and I don't blame them. Again, we're in the results business. They're paying me money to get a result, usually physical.
Yeah.
They just want to see the change. So as a coach, you can wallow in self-pity and say, oh my God, the landscape of social media is ruining our jobs. Or you can nut up like me and talk about setting expectations. Mm-hmm. I spend a lot of time in my introductory calls, in my intake forms. What are your goals outside of XYZ? Mm-hmm. Because you may get the body composition changes. I'm not saying you won't, but we need to have something more tangible that we can hold on to in the first couple of months.
Right.
That's going to give you that positive feedback so that you can keep going.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's sad that this myth is still being perpetuated. Like I'll see fitness pros, like bodybuilders, CrossFit, like legitimate professionals in their sport, still touting this myth of like, oh yeah, arms are wrecked today, boys. We really did. It's like, okay, what are you,
Yeah.
are you trying to prop your ego up so much that you're disseminating false information? I guess.
Possibly. Yeah. I
don't
think
know.
that's very possible.
Soreness does not equal growth, folks. It doesn't. Okay, next up.
Okay.
This one is not, it didn't make me upset. I build my strength training programs around 8 basic movement patterns, 4 lower body and 4 upper body. The lower body patterns are a squat, a hinge, a bridge, and a lunge. And the upper body is a horizontal push, a horizontal pull, a vertical push, and a vertical pull. So I wanted to talk about this one because I think it's a really good way to, if you have no idea where to start, starting with something like this is really important.
Yeah.
I can see you're a little confused.
I'm just thinking through all of you read them kind of fast. I'm like, okay, so
go
squat.
again.
Yep. The hinge being the deadlift.
A hinge could be a deadlift style. That's the thing.
You're hinging from the hips.
Right.
So a squat, hips and knees, hinging from the hips, a
Bridge.
lunge and a glute bridge.
Something like that.
Style movement.
What you're saying is kind of what I want to talk about a little bit. We need to get out of this idea that there's one exercise, like a squat or a leg press, that you have to do. And instead, we need to broaden our perspective to movement patterns. Because this is another thing that keeps a lot of people out of the gym is squatting. Some people are so terrified of squatting or deadlifting that they're going to get injured that they say, okay, I'm not going to do that.
But you can do a leg press instead.
You can do a squat type movement. Let me tell you folks, sitting down on a chair and getting up from that chair is a squat pattern. So you are already squatting. Now what we need is an intelligent sequence of loading so that we can progress through that movement.
Yeah.
People don't come to me and I say, okay, we're going to get under the 315 squat and we're going to go for a 1 rep max. Are you crazy?
Yeah. Some of your clients are 85 years old.
Sometimes we start with a medicine ball assisted squat where they're leaning on a medicine ball on a wall and they go down and come back up. Box squats, kettlebell squats, and you build progression and regression into the program.
Yeah.
So when you are thinking about getting in the gym, it can be very daunting to think, okay, I've got to do this exercise and this exercise and this exercise. When if you take that broader approach of movement pattern, it can be much more freeing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Another good one is like pull-ups. Everybody thinks pull-ups are like the be all end all. Let me tell you what, 9 out of 10 people walking into the gym will not be able to do a pull-up their first week in the gym. It is a very difficult movement. So now do you say, okay, well, I can't do any vertical pulling because I can't do a pull-up.
You can just get on the lat pull-down machine, correct?
We've got a lat pull-down machine. We've got any number. We've got assisted pull-ups if they have assisted pull-ups in there.
Okay.
There's a ton of different vertical pulls, a ton of different horizontal. So let's go over them again. Squat,
hinge.
we know that one. Hinge, a deadlift, a Romanian deadlift, a kettlebell swing. These types of movements that are going to engage the posterior chain, hamstrings, glutes, lower back. Next up is bridge. Now, I don't know if I'm with this specific person on that. I think that you can get a lot of glute, hamstring, and low back activation from just the squat and the hinge pattern.
Yeah.
You could throw the bridge on top of that. That's like a glute bridge, a traditional glute bridge, or what are they calling them these days? Hip thrust. I don't love that exercise. Some people swear by it. I've never had a great time with it. My clients have never really had a great time with it, but it doesn't mean that it's a bad exercise.
Yeah. If you like it, do it.
And it has been shown to be effective. I think that you can get just as much glute activation from the squat, apples and oranges, right?
Yeah.
And then a lunge. Now, what I would say for a lunge, instead of a lunge, I would say some type of single leg extension.
Okay.
Some type of single leg movement that's going to rely on extension and what's the opposite of extension? I can't remember.
Non-extension.
Bending your knee and doing this with your knee. Some type of single. Sorry, my brain is broken right now.
Yeah.
Because again, we see the word lunge and people think my knees can't handle a lunge.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
does a split squat count as a lunge or a
Yes.
squat?
I would put that in a lunge pattern.
Okay.
A squat pattern to me is both legs planted on
Fair.
the ground,
Yeah.
or a surface if you're talking about a leg press.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And then anything that's unilateral, I would put in that lunge category. But I'm talking about somebody looks on their sheet and it says lunge, that level of fear, because everybody seems to be so terrified
Your
of getting
mom
hurt.
is very terrified of lunges.
Yeah,
She
a lot
won't
of
do a
people
lunge.
are. Everybody, and there is some truth to the fact that if you just jump into a weighted lunge, your knees will not be able to take it.
Yeah.
Well, let's do a partial lunge.
Yeah.
Let's do a single leg press. Let's do a single leg extension so that we can start to build some strength, not only in your quads, but also in your tendons, also in your ligaments, in your knees. Let's do some isometric holds with one leg, you know? So the pattern to specific exercise, that's the way it should be. It should be pattern, then specific exercise, rather than picking out specific exercises.
Yeah.
So then for the upper body, horizontal push,
Bench press.
any type of bench press with dumbbells, chest press, anything like that,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Horizontal pull, opposite of that. Rows, dumbbell rows, barbell rows,
Okay.
seated rows, like, you know. Upper body's easy.
Yeah.
Push and pull in different planes of motion, and you are good.
Where does a tricep pull down kind of extension movement go in there?
So this is the thing that I wanted to say about the upper body is it is a little sparse.
Yeah.
Because the upper body relies more than the lower body on single joint movements, because you have more smaller,
Elbow,
bicep,
shoulder, yeah.
deltoid, tricep. You could get away with just doing horizontal push, horizontal pull, vertical push, vertical pull. You'll get secondary movements with all that. Your biceps are involved in a row. Your triceps are involved in any pressing you do. But if you want to be a bodybuilder and you want to specifically target,
Okay.
then we go a little bit deeper.
Okay.
But again, this is targeted at a very novice
Like basic.
base level, right?
Okay, so we have the bench press, the row.
Vertical push,
The
shoulder
shoulder
press,
press,
and then
and
a
the pull
vertical
down.
pull down, pull up, chin up, anything like that.
Muscle up.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about advanced, you want to talk about a muscle up.
You know, that's actually vertical pull and push, wouldn't it be? 'Cause
Yeah.
you-
The muscle up is such an Instagram exercise.
Yeah, I don't imagine you get a lot of progressive overload from that unless you tie some weights to your feet.
I think it's fine. I just think it's more of a show off.
You know what? Do it.
Exercise. Yeah.
Show off. Impress people.
But the core message there, I think, is very, very valuable. We've got to stop thinking about specific exercises. If I see one more Q&A on Instagram with what's the best exercise for X, I'm gonna lose it, because different exercise for different people at different times in different contexts. Almost any exercise can work. I'm telling you right now. I may draw the line at a Bosu ball squat. I don't think that, but maybe.
What about the rope swings?
I don't love them as
I
well.
know you
but
hate those.
I really believe in the proper context with the proper individual, loaded properly, it can have value.
Sure.
We have to stop demonizing, like, this optimization crowd online that's like, well, don't do a pull down for your lats, but you really want to do a sideways twisting and turning 360 pull down with your arm angle. Dude, that's so dumb. And it is only gatekeeping the gym. That's all it is.
It's making it seem really hard.
That's all. The gym is easy, dude. My job is easy. Now, pay me still, because, I add value. But, like,
Yeah.
I hate that. And it seems to come from a place of financial fear, where if we give the tools to the layperson, they won't need to come to us anymore. Well, let me tell you what, if you have the personality of a wet blanket and all you're offering them is programming, of course they're not going to come to you anymore. But if you're building relationships with people, if you're providing motivation, if you're providing support, they are going to continue to use your services even after they've become more advanced in their programming. I have clients that could probably program for themselves. And we still work together because I offer a little bit more expertise. I take the burden of them having to worry about their programming off of them. So the coach-client relationship changes. I'm no longer just coaching them. Now I'm also providing mental and physical and emotional support as well.
Yeah. Well, and I think making the gym seem really hard and scary and you need you need all this stuff does keep people out of it.
I think it does.
When really, I think if people just felt like, okay, yeah, I can just go and try it and figure it out, they get in there, they're like, okay, I'm doing great.
Yeah.
but there's a little bit more involved than maybe I thought. I might like some help with this and then would reach out to a coach eventually anyway. I think that's reasonable to assume.
I'm just trying to do
For some people.
I'm trying to do anything and everything to get people in the door because I know how impactful it is.
Yeah.
To specifically resistance train.
Yeah.
The amount of clients that I have that the way my gym is set up is you walk out of the personal training room, over here's the free weights and over here's the machines. The minute that we start making a turn over here, the bottom drops out from underneath them. They're terrified.
Of the
They're like,
machines?
Yeah, no, of the free weight area.
Oh.
They're like, I can't be here. This is not for me. And unfortunately, it's a lot of women for whatever reason. I think men are just stupider and just are like, I'll give it a shot because they're doing it wrong. Let me tell you, but they're over there at least. Whereas a lot of my female clients are like, that space is not for me. And I'm like, okay, I understand that you're uncomfortable. Let's try something.
Yeah.
Why are you uncomfortable? Oh, well, I don't want to squat with a barbell on my back. Okay, that's perfectly fine. What if we squat with just a dumbbell
Yeah.
in front of us and okay, I can do that. That's, and then you start to build confidence in that area. The gym is for everybody, man.
I think it's funny. I'm the opposite. I prefer the free weights rather than machines.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point because some of the machines definitely,
I don't know how to use them.
there's a lot of moving parts and they can feel pretty awkward.
I just don't want to end up on a YouTube compilation of look at how this dummy is using the machine.
Yeah, I mean, there's that.
I feel like it's a lot harder to mess up or like look stupid doing free weights. It's like I know how to do a curl or a press. Like it's not rocket science to use a free weight.
I think that there's perspectives on both sides.
And that's just my perspective and my preference.
But I do think there are definitely some machines that are a little bit less user-friendly than they should be.
Yeah.
But we've gotten really good.
Some of them look like real like torture devices, like very mysterious.
We've gotten very good at indicating how machines are supposed to be used.
Yeah.
And now a lot of these modern gyms, they've got QR codes on every machine. So you can scan the QR code and get a video on how to adjust the seat, how to adjust the weight, what proper execution looks like, which is very valuable.
Yeah.
So I just think a lot of people default to the free weight or the machines more so than the free weights. I also think that there's this, I don't know, there may be this fear of gym bro culture and like the free weight area is just for like these steroid heads but I just hate that, man. Like,
I guess I'm just used to the free weight since obviously we don't have any machines at home.
Right.
So everything I do is with free weights.
But if you walked into my gym and you saw the free weight area with like 20 high school dudes running around,
I'm not afraid of 16-year-olds.
Oh, there you go. Get them.
I don't care.
Battle.
Well, none of them are using the 10-pounders.
You'd be surprised. High school boys.
I'm sure they're all trying to do like form with as much as they can.
They're that guy that's sore all over his body.
I think I'm going to have the 5 to 20-pound dumbbells all to myself.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I just want the gym to be a place of comfort and not comfort because obviously you should be
working hard, but not a place
emotional
where you feel
comfort.
out of place.
Not physical comfort, but emotional comfort.
Right,
and
not physical comfort.
The amount of people that I talk to that are just like, I'm never going to the gym. I'm afraid of that place. It's like, I understand, but I'm sorry. Who hurt you? You know what I mean? Like, where does this come from?
Yeah.
If you are I want to hear from people. If you're one of those people that is afraid or uncomfortable in the gym, if you're comfortable telling us why, please leave it in the comments.
Yeah.
And just know that there are people like me that want you to be there because they know how important it is for you to train your body well for longevity, for emotional health. And the gym is a place to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just so patterns, movement patterns over specific exercises. That's the take home message.
Yep. Well, and I think that having that like big general pattern view of things keeps you away from falling into the trap of like, do these 10 exercises, like falling into some of that more sensationalist workout program titles. Like I'm thinking like YouTube video workouts.
The best 3 ab blasting exercises for abs in 10 minutes.
Right, exactly. It's like there's lots of ab exercises and they fall into these 3 types.
Right.
But, you go on to that type of like, the 5 best leg moves.
Yeah.
And they're all variations of a squat. It's like, well, you're only working
in
that
this specific
part of your
yeah,
leg.
Yeah, right.
When really you would do better to have 5 different movement patterns.
Right.
And so having that knowledge, I think, can only help you be more discerning.
Yeah.
in
And
the
what's
things
funny
you
is
do.
I have made videos similar to that. Like I'm thinking of one specifically. I made like best exercises to improve your squat.
Yeah.
But I'm coming at it from a powerlifting perspective. And I hope implicit in all of my videos is the idea that I am just a person and I am not the almighty, infallible disseminator of knowledge in terms of fitness. Like
Right.
just because I'm saying this doesn't mean that this is the only thing that can be done. Again, I like to be well researched. I like to stand on the foundations of not only scientific research, but anecdotal evidence from incredibly strong people from the past and do like, I'm going to give you quality information. That doesn't mean that it's the only way to do things. There's quality information all over the place.
Exactly.
So that it's like what I always say, when you have to have consumer responsibility, you have to go into those videos understanding that there are other ways to do things.
Yeah.
So
It's more than one way to skin a cat.
there's just so much tribalism in the online fitness space. And you know what? 2024 is going to be the year of no tribalism.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I hope.
It's not going to happen. The tribalism is how people make their money.
Yep.
So that it's not going anywhere.
No. But we have to know enough to try to avoid it or
Right.
stay or not contribute to it as
Yeah.
much as we can.
Like I hate the high intensity style of bodybuilding training.
Doesn't
I hate
work
it.
for you.
I hate it. Walk in, warm up, do one heavy set and leave. I hate it. I hate it.
So don't do it.
Do I also acknowledge that it has gotten some incredible results for a lot of high level bodybuilders?
Yeah.
Of course.
Great for them. They can
That's
do it.
awesome. That's perfect.
Yeah.
The other one, the lengthened partials versus full range of motion, is another battle that we're going. You fall into a specific category of what you enjoy. You know what? Your genetics are going to really play the highest factor in where you get in terms of maximal strength and best physique. It doesn't really matter the style that you're training in.
Right.
We're talking about 1% to 2% things.
Right. If you don't like it, nobody's making you do it.
Exactly.
If someone else is doing it and they like it and they're getting results and they're happy,
Go for it.
let them be.
No tribalism 2024. Let's do it. It is an election year too. There's going to be tribalism all over the place.
Yeah, you're right.
This podcast stands against tribalism in
Yeah.
2024. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, folks. We're going to call it there. A couple of shorter episodes coming your way, but we are going to try and get every December Monday.
Yes.
We're going to get a podcast out.
Yes.
You got anything to say to the people?
No.
You never have anything to say to the people.
I guess I got to start thinking. I mean, I've spent, 40 minutes saying things to the people.
That's true. You've said all you need to say.
Yeah. I love the people. Come back next week.
Come back. Yeah, there you go. We love you. Come back next week. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a good rest of your week. Yeah, goodbye.
Bye.